Long-distance relationships often feel more emotionally intense than ordinary relationships. Distance changes how attachment and imagination operate psychologically. When physical presence is limited, emotional connection relies more on anticipation, memory, and interpretation. The relationship centers on longing and waiting. Emotions often feel stronger because the connection exists partly in reality and partly in emotional imagination at the same time. Absence naturally increases emotional attention toward the other person. The mind tends to focus on them more because the connection feels incomplete. Limited access makes interactions feel more valuable. This creates heightened appreciation for communication, affection, and shared moments. Distance also strengthens anticipation, a strong emotional amplifier. Waiting for calls, messages, or visits creates emotional buildup. The brain releases dopamine during anticipation. Longing itself becomes emotionally stimulating, making the relationship feel charged even during separation. Intensity increases due to idealization shaped by imagination. Without constant physical interaction, mundane habits are less visible. The mind fills emotional gaps with imagined closeness and romanticized qualities. Reality mixes with emotional projection and fantasy. Communication becomes more emotionally concentrated. Couples spend hours discussing feelings, future plans, and emotional experiences. In distance, words carry more emotional weight, making conversations feel deeper, more intentional, and emotionally significant. Scarcity plays a powerful role. Limited time together increases the perceived emotional value of every shared interaction and experience. Visits become highly anticipated experiences filled with emotional energy and excitement. This emotional scarcity intensifies attachment. Long-distance relationships can also create stronger emotional dependency. Partners may rely heavily on messages and calls for comfort. This constant emotional focus can deepen attachment because the relationship occupies a larger psychological space within everyday thought. Uncertainty adds another layer of intensity. Unanswered questions about the future and emotional stability keep attention activated. This uncertainty can make the relationship feel emotionally urgent because the possibility of loss remains more visible. Jealousy and insecurity can also feel stronger. Physical absence leaves more room for imagination and emotional speculation. Even small communication changes can feel amplified because there are fewer physical cues for reassurance and clarity. Distance can sometimes delay emotional reality. Couples spend less time navigating ordinary conflicts and practical compatibility issues. The relationship may remain emotionally idealized longer because practical realities are temporarily overshadowed by emotional longing. Long-distance love often involves sacrifice, effort, and patience, which increase emotional investment over time naturally. The more effort invested into preserving the relationship, the more emotionally meaningful it often becomes within the mind. Long-distance relationships also create cycles of reunion and separation that intensify emotional experiences repeatedly. Reunions feel euphoric, but separations afterward often feel emotionally painful because attachment has been reactivated strongly. However, intensity does not automatically mean deeper compatibility or healthier emotional connection in every long-distance relationship. Sometimes the emotional intensity comes more from longing, uncertainty, and idealization than from genuine understanding. When physical proximity eventually becomes permanent, some couples discover that emotional intensity alone cannot replace practical compatibility. Despite these challenges, long-distance relationships can create genuinely strong emotional bonds when communication, trust, and mutual effort remain healthy. Distance forces many couples to develop emotional communication skills and intentional connection practices that strengthen understanding. Emotional honesty and consistency become much more important for maintaining connection successfully. This creates relationships built on strong emotional foundations. In the end, long-distance relationships feel more intense because distance amplifies longing, imagination, anticipation, and emotional focus. Love becomes intertwined with waiting, uncertainty, sacrifice, and emotional projection, all of which intensify how feelings are experienced. What people often call intense love is sometimes the emotional power created when attachment exists alongside distance, longing, and limited physical access.